My name is Madelyn Foster Daniels. My mother's name was Miss Henrietta Crystal Littlejohn when she was here, and of course she married a Foster. I also had an aunt here, Aunt Undine Littlejohn, and she married a Norris. But I would like to share this picture with you. This is my mother on the right side, and this is my Aunt Undine on the left side. I can imagine what it was like for them back in the 1920s to go to college. And we live in Gaffney, South Carolina, as a matter of fact. And so you have to go around winding mountains, and the streets, highways were very narrow. So I know it was a difficult thing for them to do to travel here, because it's difficult now for us with 2 lanes on either side. So I imagine they came in one of those big cars and they filled it up, not like the students do now where they have these big trucks, I guess, to come over, and vans. But when I went to visit Morristown, I was inspired by my mother, and it was a happy time for me and a great experience, because I thought about my mother walking the same grounds and passing a dormitory, and I think I saw one of the dormitories that she told me about. Another thing that happened there, my mother would wear gloves, and I had my gloves on. That's where I got it from. And she would have hats on also. So that's another thing that I'm known for also, my hats and my gloves. Now, she was a music teacher, so I can imagine that she played the piano there. Now, my Aunt Undine would sing. My mother said she didn't sing that much because she was always playing the piano, but of course she could sing. Now, I don't know about the different studies, classes that she had, but anyway, she ended up being a principal teacher, and she played for the choirs at home, and also she would go around to many other churches and play. Now, my family has a funeral home there, that's Foster Funeral Home, but her father was the first black postal. Well, he was a postmaster in Gaffney, South Carolina. And after my Aunt Undine finished Morristown, she went to work at Tuskegee, Alabama. And then, of course, she went back home and she married Dr. Norris. And of course, my father, as I said, had the funeral home there. There are a lot of things I could tell about, but my mother was very reserved. So she would tell things, especially if you would ask her. And so I can't really share a lot of things with you about the principals who was there, president of the classes, the teachers and things like that. She may have told me about it, but I don't remember. Well, actually, it was a little place called Cowpens, South Carolina, and she was, as I said, principal teacher. So I don't know exactly how that was working for her. I just know it's about 15 miles from Gaffney, where she was working, and she said she could just about drive there with her eyes closed. She had to go so much. That's a strange thing. Even though we grew up in an integrated neighborhood, we still had these segregated schools. But that didn't bother me. We lived right next door to, well, there's a diverse group there, you know. And there were 2 black homes and 4 white homes in my block where I stayed. So we passed a big stately high school to get to our little school, but that didn't bother me either. And our church was the only black property. We had a median strip down the street in the center of the street, and our church and our parsonage were the only 2 black places or sites right there for blacks. It was a happy time growing up in Gaffney. We didn't realize a lot about segregation because the whites were so friendly to us, well, most of the time, especially the ones who knew us, and a lot of them did not know us. But anyway, it's a quaint little town. I think it's a beautiful little town, and the home of the Big Peach on I-85. Well, 7 children are in my family, and we all went to college. And of course, My brothers went to Johnson C. Smith, and my sister went to Bennett, one of my sisters. I went to Spelman. Then I had two sisters who went to South Carolina State. And all of them, siblings, my sisters, we all taught in school. I taught in Gaffney for a while, and then of course I went to Chattanooga and taught there also. And I had my other three sisters taught in different cities as well: Spartanburg, Gaffney, Gastonia, Morganton, those two cities in North Carolina. So I think we have done very well, and that we did what our parents wanted us to do. We went to college and finished it, in 4 years. I may have gotten a chance to come here since my husband's mother was here as well. My mother and my husband's mother lives kind of paralleled, going to Morristown College and then becoming principal teachers, and they both played the piano, and they would go to church, So that's one way we continue to do those things that our parents did. By my mother being inspired to go to Morristown, and by enjoying it, I was inspired to go to college too. I just knew we had to go anyway. Well, I have 3 sons, Don, Sean, and John, as my husband has already told you. And we grew up in a household with 2 parents and with a grandmother and one aunt, my Aunt Blundell, and she came and helped with my grandmother. And we had another aunt who would come from time to time, my Aunt Nathalie. So we were very happy. It was a very happy household, very happy school. So I was a happy little girl.